Have you ever wanted to know what it's like to skydive? Well, I have the perfect game for you. The game we're reviewing today is Superflight, in this new series where I review cheap games, expensive games, free games, and say if they're worth it or not, and I'll give them a rating at the end. Today's game is a little game called Superflight. This goes into the cheaper category at around $3. As you can see here, it is, you may have seen this game, I should say, if you have been on TikTok and you see Yap sessions, things like that, you may have seen this game. It's a bit laggy at first. It gets better though. It takes a bit of getting used to, but it's fun. That's one reason I think this game's really good. Now to the next category, we have the graphics. Chances are, if you're playing this game, you're not playing it for the graphics. But if I had to rate the graphics, I would say it is a solid, probably, in my opinion, a 6, 7 out of 10. Because for the game that it is, I think the graphics are good. And also for the time it was made, it's pretty good. So, for the graphics, I would have to put it at a 8 out of 10. Because taking into account the kind of game it is, and basically just the game. Moving on to the next category, we have replayability. The replayability on this game is kind of crazy. I would rate it a 9 out of 10, because even though it's the exact same thing, I'll get into it in the next category why it's so great. So number one, the mechanics are fun. They're hard to get used to, but once you get used to them, you kind of get good at them. And here is what I was talking about. We have the next category, the maps. So in Superflight, you're able to basically generate any map you want. You don't put in a prompt for it, it just auto generates. And if you have if you look up seeds, you can use seeds that other people have found, which I find nice. But yeah, if you like games with massive replayability and different things you can do, this game's kind of crazy. I would rate replayability and maps probably, if I had to rate it out of 10, 9 out of 10. It's so solid, it's so good. Moving on to the next category, the controls and mechanics. So all you really need for this game is a W, A, S, and D buttons. That's all you need, or your arrow buttons, whichever you prefer. To my knowledge, you don't really use any other buttons other than maybe enter. That's it. I'd say you need an enter key. The controls, as I said in the previous section, are a bit hard to get used to, but once you do, it's pretty solid. I would say for controls, probably a 7 out of 10, because it's not too hard and it's simplistic, and almost everyone who plays has a keyboard. I will be adding some gameplay at the end of this footage, so you can see some more gameplay of it, and at the end I'll give my total review. But for controls and mechanics, I'd rate it an 8 out of 10. to the final review of this game, Superflight. I would rate it a solid and very good 9 out of 10. For $3, it's a great game.